Okay, so you've clicked play on this video because you want to learn Spanish. So what I'm going to give you in today's video is 10 tips that I used myself when I first arrived in Spain, because I'm not going to lie, I'm not good at languages. I'm far from it. But it was something I had to learn because I live in Spain. So if you're the same sort of person as me who's tried, you've got bored, you've given up, don't do that yet. Watch all 10 tips in this video because I promise you they will 100% help you. Tip number 1 is watch Spanish television every single day. And the reason I say this is because your ear needs daily training. Now, when you start watching Spanish television, I promise you, you're not going to get anything at all. And that's fine. You're not meant to. As I just said, you're just training your ear. Now, the 2 kinds of programs that I used to watch that really helped me was one was the Spanish news. Typically, news presenters speak very slow and very clear, and this makes it the perfect kind of program for beginners to watch. Secondly, believe it or not, are kids' cartoons. Kids' cartoons are very easy to follow, and what they do is they will help you with the rhythm of the language. So an hour a day, ditch the Netflix, ditch the YouTube, and tune into some Spanish television. Tip number 2 is listen to Spanish music every day because it's real conversational Spanish. The slang, the contractions, the natural speech, completely different to what you would hear, say, in a formal Spanish language classroom. And again, it trains your ear. It trains your ear to the rhythm and the pronunciations without feeling like you're actually studying. So find yourself some Spanish music artists that you like. Me personally, when I started listening to Spanish music as a newbie here in Spain, I honed in on an artist called Mala Rodriguez, and I really liked her. So, like me, find yourself some Spanish music to listen to because this one is a clear winner for helping that ear training. Okay, the 3rd tip is a huge winner, and that is write everything in Spanish. Your shopping list, your reminders, your notes. Even go ahead and change the language setting on your phone to Spanish. Every time you write in Spanish instead of English, you're training your brain to think in Spanish rather than translate from English. And trust me, over time, that shift is everything. Tip number 4 is have the Spanish radio on in the background. Nowadays, even if you're in the UK, with technology as it is, it's so easy to tune into foreign channels. And by having the radio on in the background, what you're doing is you're passively learning. Your brain is absorbing patterns and sounds even when you're not actively listening. You'll start recognizing words that you didn't even know you knew. It costs nothing and it requires 0 effort. Number 5 is use a language exchange platform. Now, these are a really great way to improve your Spanish. Now, there are different options. You can actually do voice calls or voice exchanges, or you can take the route that I took, and that is just simply typing, chatting. It's real and it works. You're giving them English for their Spanish, and it's such a great and enjoyable way to learn. 30 minutes twice a week is enough. If you do more than that, it will probably burn you out. But again, it's a great way and it's completely free. Tip number 6, and probably the most important one on this list, and that is to learn the Spanish verbs first. I made the silly mistake of learning hundreds, if not thousands of singular words, table, chair, ceiling, stairs, bread, water, whatever it was. But they were useless. I couldn't physically use them without the verbs because the verbs are what construct sentences about almost anything. So make sure you sit and learn the verbs first. Once you've got the verbs, you can then move on to the singular words. Okay, tip number 7 is a harder one, but it's so important if you want to accelerate your Spanish learning, and that is stop translating from English to Spanish in your head. Just think in Spanish because this will fast track your capability of learning the language so quickly. I'm going to give you an example how this worked for me. Now, I immersed myself in the language. I was watching the television, listening to the radio, listening to music, all of those things that we've already mentioned, writing my notes in Spanish. But how I knew I was starting to crack it was, years ago, one of my Spanish girlfriends said to me in the morning when I woke up that I was talking in my sleep during the night. And I said, "Oh yeah, really?" And she said, "Yeah, but you was talking in Spanish." So that just goes to show that if you can start to train your brain to think in Spanish, you'll do it naturally. Tip number 8 is read the Spanish newspapers. Now, again, the same as the television, you're going to pick an article from a Spanish newspaper and you're not going to probably have a clue what it says. And that's the point. Now, I used to go to my favourite bar in the area where I was living every single morning. I used to go there with a Spanish newspaper and my English-Spanish dictionary. And I would translate an article, maybe a small article like that, and every single word that I didn't know, I would find it in my dictionary. I would write it down. And yes, it's harder, it takes time, but that is the point. Effort creates memory in a way passive reading never does. Tip number 9 is listen to Spanish podcasts because, again, they're a great way to pick up accents, to train your ear. You can slow them down, you can rewind them, you can repeat them. 20 minutes daily on your commute to work or during your morning walk compounds over time faster than you think. Okay, and tip number 10 rewinds us back to tip number 1, and that is when you're watching Spanish television or watching a Spanish movie, turn the subtitles off. I made the mistake of thinking, oh, the subtitles are the best thing because I can listen and understand what's going on. And it actually did the opposite for me because I just spent all my time reading the subtitles in English instead of actually trying to work out what was going on. So when you're watching that Spanish television or you find a Spanish movie you want to watch, ditch the subtitles. I promise you it's the only way to improve faster. Now, bonus tip that I want to put across to you, and that is stop trying to make Spanish make English sense because it doesn't. It doesn't work. And the sooner that you accept that, the sooner you will learn. I've done this stupid thing of questioning the Spanish language all the time. Well, why is it like that? It makes no sense. And the reason it made no sense because I was translating everything back to English in my head. I don't mean the words, I mean the thoughts, like of how it should be. You know, why do we say in Spanish el coche rojo, not the red car? In Spanish, it's the car red. And I was questioning things like this all the time. It makes no sense. Why do you say it backwards? Just stop doing that and just accept it as it is. Now, I'm going to leave you with a very quick story because this is something that happened to me. I've been living in Spain for a few days. This particular night, we needed some brown bread to go with our dinner. So I went to the local shop across the road. I hadn't learned the verb, so I couldn't ask for... I couldn't say, do you have, or I would like. I just went up to the shopkeeper and said, pan marron. I knew bread was pan and brown was marron, yeah? But again, that English thinking, in England, it's white bread or brown bread. But in Spanish, it isn't. You know, brown bread, for the point of the conversation, is actually pan integral in Spanish. But the whole point I'm trying to say is stop questioning or translating literally in your head. The sooner you start doing that, the sooner Spanish will just be something that you accept and it will stop becoming a puzzle. Anyway, guys, these are some practical tips that really helped and accelerated my Spanish learning when I arrived here 21 years ago. If you've enjoyed the video, please remember to smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free. Anyway, enjoy whatever you're doing for the rest of the day, and I'll catch you in the next one.